topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom natural holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I certainly can make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have released 70 pounds. And, okay, I don't know where the slides are. I had a health transformation. I have kept fit and trim for over a decade. And it's actually been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51 when I never ran from childhood to hood due to foot pain. And I have completed 8 half marathons so far. Mindset is the key to lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. And I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. You can go to the next slide. My coaching is for optimizing your health, efficiently release weight, and enhancing your mindset. With my clients, I help them recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions drive their actions and results. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. That's why it's crucial to have a positive mindset to succeed in life. Also, it's imperative that you manage your emotions and release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because all that's going to do is slow you down and get you stuck. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has ballasts, I help my clients release those emotional ballasts so they can uplift to a better, happier, healthier life. And they are going to, in turn, release stress and reshape their core beliefs. You'll see and feel the differences of my coaching programs. Ask me about them. Set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in victory, es.com/linktree, LINKTREE. And I'll guide you to that better, healthier life with custom solutions that are natural for you in the areas of mind, body, and soul. Now, currently, we are living in uncertain times. People are losing their jobs, their stress, and there's unrest throughout the world. Now, it's really important to have a positive mindset to manage your stress and get through these times. I have a workshop, Empower Your Mind and Life, where you're going to manage your emotions and release stress. It's on Saturday, June 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific. For more details, go to bit.ly/empower your mind and life, all spelled out as one word, and register for it. I truly believe that health and wealth go hand in hand. And most people struggle with finances. Today, I have jgrace, the founder and president of Investors Advantage Corp. As an experienced financial advisor with more than 4 decades of experience, he assists his clients in achieving financial freedom regardless of their age and strategically develops portfolios to better prepare them for their future. He specializes in wealth management and retirement planning by focusing on investment management, financial services, and insurance services, and corporate retiring. He has various educational and financial workshops to enhance financial literacy. In 2020, he published a book, which you can put the slide up, Making Finance Make Sense, Strive to Win, providing professional advice about confidently planning for one's future and how to invest without risk. John is a canary in the coal mine, encouraging savvy investors to discover not only to survive, but also thrive and more. He has been recognized by Marquis Who's Who top executives for dedication, achievements, and leadership for money management. He is honored by in 2023 and 2024 being on the list of the top most influential leaders in the Los Angeles Business Journal. And this month he's going to be recognized for 2025 as well. Today we'll be discussing 5 savvy secrets of financially successful women. So let's welcome John Grace, the founder and president of Investors Advantage Group. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Debbie. Good to be with you.
And happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. Let's celebrate, right?
Let's celebrate, right. My birthday's actually on Sunday.
Okay. Well, do you know what you and I have in common with our president?
Yeah, we're Geminis.
Yes, we're all Geminis. There we are.
Yes, but we're all different too, you know?
Yes, thank you very much.
So, you know, financial planning can be stressful for people, especially if they don't understand what's going on. But I want to start off with something a little bit different.
Okay.
In life, people are single and then they get married. And sometimes a woman with children is going to they may be getting a divorce. So how can she significantly protect her income in regards of alimony and child support from her husband's life insurance policy?
It's a great question, and you have a lot of great professionals on your program, and the estate planning attorneys, in my opinion, aren't so useful because we watch our clients get worked up over what I'm going to have the ex do and how the judge is going to make things happen. But then somehow they leave the back door open and don't look at, and by the way, this is true for people, whether you're going through a divorce or not. The question is, if you're, and by the way, whether or not you're married, okay, if you're interdependent upon income, the question becomes, what do you need to do to make sure that if that source of income goes to heaven, the supply that person provided doesn't go where? All right. So
Okay.
It's really important, long before you think you need it, to recognize if you're used to $80,000 from him or her, or $40,000 from him or her, what kind of insurance do you need to put in place in advance so that if they go to heaven, if you need 40,000, that means you need $1 million on that person. If you need, like a friend of my wife's, we were just talking earlier, she's dependent upon her ex to pay her. He's an MD, $120,000. Well, if we use the simple 4% withdrawal strategy, that means she needs something like $3 million on him today. And then we want to make sure that the person who's expecting to receive this money is the owner and the beneficiary of the policy, particularly when going through a divorce. Because if it were me and I'm telling you, Debbie, I've taken care of you, here's my insurance policy, and I just happen to, forget to make that last payment before I go to heaven, guess what? You're left holding a blank check. So when you're the owner and the beneficiary, nothing can happen with this policy without you knowing about it and you being involved with it. And you have to do the math to be the beneficiary, make sure you're the owner of the policy. That way, nothing can happen with this little bag that you want to go poof and provide the same income without you being completely aware and abreast of things.
Yeah, and if you get remarried, it's really important to change your beneficiary too.
And to your point, it's one of those things that I encourage. women particularly to have conversations with their female friends, because we all seen so many people get worked up, or as I say, in terms of what I'm going to make the soon to be ex-spouse, what I'm going to make this other person do. Well, you know what? One of the holes that we do leave open is making sure that the beneficiary is exactly who it's supposed to be. I mean, we have a case study of a lady who became an educator in New York City some years ago, and she made her primary beneficiary when she was single, just out of college, her sister. She got married, and 35 years later, she went to heaven, and the husband discovered that he was not the beneficiary on the policy. So, on both sides of that equation, you want to make sure I am the beneficiary, have it in writing, not in thought, because he sued the school district, he sued the insurance company, and because she had placed her sister's name on that fill in the blank with the sister, that's what the contract went by. Nobody other than the sister got all the money, and the sister told the husband, pound sand. The laws have changed, by the way, for people who are new hires now when it comes to like retirement accounts. When you're married, you're either going to identify your spouse as your primary beneficiary, or you're going to have that spouse sign off that I'm not the primary beneficiary. That way I know that I'm not going to get a dime in advance, as opposed to thinking everything's just fine, and then I discover after I can have no conversation with you that I wasn't the primary beneficiary. Oops.
Yeah, but you know what? That really makes a lot of sense that things are changing now. They sign because it becomes a big surprise for people.
Yes, and it's not fun. It's an ugly surprise. Like I say, we want you to miss the person's income, but maybe not miss them. I won't miss you, but I don't want to miss your money. Okay, I really don't want to do that. So that's the point. We have to make sure the I's are dotted, the checks or the boxes are checked, so that we know what's going to happen. We know what to do, and it's as simple as securing the death certificate, sending that to the insurance company, and then you receive the check. But now you want to recognize, all right, with this $1 million, I'm going to put that to work in a place where the yield might be 4%. That's 40,000. So
hopefully he'll be back. We are having some issues with StreamYard today. So just to let you guys know, it's really important to pay attention to the beneficiary. I've had some issues with someone in my family member that had that problem when someone passed away. And it looks like he's coming back.
I found my way. I don't know what happened.
Great.
All these modern conveniences.
Yeah, I know. So anyways, I was explaining that some of my family members have experienced that, which is unfortunate when someone passed away.
Yeah.
So now often women are doing this planning with their husband, and they go with what the husband wants. And they're not really managing their finances or doing it as a strategic business plan. But what I would like you to recommend what they can do and how to do it, just in case, because it's important to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, the first thing you want to do is put your headset on, okay, and recognize you are as important, and frankly, you may be more important than the husband, but sometimes the professionals are asleep at the switch, and they act like they do not see you. So I encourage, in fact, we make sure when we're sitting with couples alone or together to talk with both of them, get each of them involved. And one of the things that often happens is either way it goes, the wife thinks the husband's being too aggressive with the money, and the husband is aghast because the wife wants to be more conservative with the money. Here's the question. The question, instead of just throwing darts in the dark to say, well, I'm happy this account went up, or it didn't, I didn't make that much. The question is, what do you want this money to do? At what point do you and your husband want to make work optional? And what kind of income do you need at that point in time? And sometimes we've had clients privately come in every case so far, it's been the woman who says, look, leave him out of the equation. It's you and me here. Show me what I need to know, and show me in the event. I mean, right now everything's fine, but I don't know. So show me how things would pan out in the event I were to say he's got to go. show me how I can do this on my own. So I have two plans. You won't tell him that I'm here privately. He does not know this. That's right. He does not need to know anything. But yes, we want you to know. Either way it might be, because sometimes it's the man who's good with math. Sometimes it's the woman who's good with math. And then they often take care of everything. And the other person is completely in the dark, doesn't know anything. And then one way or the other, they go away for one reason or another. And now the other person is completely in the dark. So yeah, take the initiative, let your spouse know. I was just at lunch with a couple, and she was explaining to her husband that she's glad that he likes the advisor because they went to school together and they kind of speak the same language, but she does not have that background with this gentleman. And she's not really willing to work with him because she doesn't feel respected, and she doesn't feel like he hears what she's saying, and what she's saying is important to him. And he doesn't seem to be as adept at following up with the return phone calls to her when she calls. This gentleman seems to do a better job of responding to the husband when he calls, and she's like, "Yes, there's a little disconnect here. We need to rectify." And on that point, sometimes what I see my peers doing is encouraging people not to open their statements. If you're getting that kind of nonsense, I'm going to suggest that you get a second opinion, because it's fascinating to me to watch my peers, for whom I have a lot of respect, suggest to people, "Oh, don't look." Well, why not? I mean, you're talking about watching your weight, watch what you eat, look at the calories on everything you buy, look at how much sugar, how much salt is in what you like. That helps to pay attention. So how can you be so arrogant, in my opinion, to tell people not to look at their statements because they might be getting a little bit concerned?
They need to be concerned if there's something going on.
Yes, because you want to fix the dam before it breaks, right? You want to see the cracks in the dam before it bursts open, and that's what I love the business. I've been in it since 1979, but I think we are part of the problem because we help people become complicit and say, it's stocks for long haul, hold and hope, sit and take it, live with the losses. And the truth is, you don't have to do that. But you need some folks who think more along those lines, as opposed to those who are saying, have some more hopium, put on the rose-colored glasses, everything's fine. Stocks for the long haul, it always comes back. No, maybe we should be asking a more pertinent question, and that is, let's see if we can get down to the brass tacks. How much loss can you accept? That's a crucial question. Is it 100%? Is it 70%? Is it 7%? Let's start there, and let's not get lost in the weeds of me asking you, "Debbie, are you conservative, or are you moderate, or are you aggressive?" And you're like, "I don't understand the question. I don't have an intelligent answer."
It's not precise.
It's not precise enough. If you want to lose 20 pounds, it's not about 20 pounds. It's 20 pounds. That's my goal. It needs to be very specific. So the goal, in terms of recognizing what kind of loss you can live with, is one you want to get specific with. And you can change your mind. But we had, this was one referral where this woman in her 70s, she's been over 70 countries, Debbie. And I'm like, I want to follow you. You know how to roll, okay? But we took the statement that she presented and ran it backwards, assuming in 2008 that she had the same, relatively the same portfolio that she's showing in the current statement. And we found, when the market was off 37%, Vanguard was off 42%, her portfolio was off 70%. Ouch. And no one brought that to her attention. And no one said, here's what we can do, or at least what you might want to consider in the event some kind of dam breaking again happens, how you might limit your losses. The good news for her is she's living with her son, and he's been carrying all of her expenses. So this didn't really matter to her. But for the rest of us, if it was $1 million and now you wake up and it's 300,000, oh yeah, this isn't pretty. So we want to make sure we do what we can to keep all the air in the balloons so we can be healthy and wealthy.
That's very, very important. Thank you for what you're doing. Now, do women have a stop loss mindset for investments, especially with making withdrawals? How do they gain this knowledge and do it correctly?
It's a good question. Particularly, let's look at it this way. Let's just look at history not that long ago. We had not one, but two 50% losses in the stock market in the same decade. 2002, 08, 09. Now, here's the good news. For most investors, that was a time frame that we were all putting money in our accounts, right? And that was a blessing because it's kind of like gathering more seashells when the tide goes out, right? So if
Correct.
you're investing and the tide's going out and you're getting more shares or more seashells, that's a good thing when you don't need the money. But now those same folks are in positions where they're either needing or wanting or have to take withdrawals. And what the securities industry and the accounting industry often fail to mention is the fact that if these are dollars in traditional retirement accounts, like it was in a 401k, you rolled it over to an IRA. Now you're starting to take withdrawals, and at 73 or so, the Internal Revenue Service has a formula which says this is the rate you have to take out every year. Please notice we don't get this far. Every year, no matter what your account does, that withdrawal rate goes up a little bit. So it might be 3.5% this year. Stick around, and it's 6%, it's 7%. It goes up as you are taking those withdrawals. Now, let's suppose you sold a business or two, right? And you or you amassed either way you look at it, $5 million is the number, okay? And now you want to retire. Okay, 4%, that's generally the recommended withdrawal rate on 5 million is 200,000. I think for most of us, 200,000 in retirement, yeah, that'll work. That would work for me. Okay. But now let's suppose there's another 50% loss, and you were accustomed to this 200,000, 4% on 5 is 200,000. Now the $5 million gets cut in half to $2.5 million. What do we have to do with this withdrawal rate? It's got to double from 4% to 8% to keep that standard of living at 200,000 cash flow coming.
Okay.
So you just took a lot of air out of this plane, right? And now we're taking withdrawals that might be over and above what the account's generating, particularly if there's another bad year where there's any kind of a loss. Well, each time the plane's coming down further and farther, this might be a crash landing, as we all want to live to 100. So what we're saying is, one of the questions we like to work with investors to ask the question definitively: what kind of loss can you live with? And is it conceivable that we might be able to construct a portfolio that could, that's the goal, actually perform within your parameters? That way you can let the ship go down like the Titanic to the bottom of the sea, but that doesn't mean your money, your life savings doesn't have to be on that ship. We want you to see what you can do to limit those losses, as opposed to tell you have to live with those losses. It's a very crucial question, and I think it's a great question for people to ask right now, because what's the word that we're all using? Uncertainty. There's no certainty about anything anywhere. So who knows if or when the bottom's going to fall out, but we don't want to be kicked in the assets like that and never be able to live the way we were.
Now, if a woman needs a little bit more hand-holding and guidance during these times, I'm sure you provide that, right?
Oh, absolutely. We like making sure that we get together, hopefully in person, but or on Zoom, whatever works for you, right? Whether you're around the corner or around the country, and at least once a year. Now, some folks, particularly when it's a new relationship, will say that we'll meet quarterly. Look, we want to meet with you as often as you want to meet with us, because we appreciate your looking at what you're doing and raising questions about what you're doing. And sometimes folks have some ideas about something that they have an interest in, and we'll either say, well, here what we like to do is say, here's what we think about that. It's your money, it's your call. But we want to be like your armchair quarterback, if you will, looking over your shoulder at what you're doing, to say, I think this is a good idea, or to say, well, here's the downside, or here's the worst case scenario. Engineers like looking at things like that, and we think that's a healthy way to look at things. If you can deal with the worst case, you're probably good to weather just about anything that might happen. But when we smoke the hopium, put on a rose-colored glass, and say, oh, all trees grow to the sky, and then you discover something just got cut in half, now it's shock and awe. And as I say, we're trying to get to 100. The shock and awes probably won't help us emotionally or financially feel good about that.
No, and actually, human potential is 120, to tell you the truth. if people are really going to reach that age.
Yeah.
So
a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your money. You got to make sure that you have enough to enjoy your life, and also to pay those bills. And
Yes, that don't stop, right?
Right. And it doesn't create a burden and stress on you. So
Exactly.
that's why it's so important to have a financial advisor and to, have a good financial advisor that will talk to you on a
Well,
quarterly.
yeah, and one who actually where there it's a reciprocal relationship, all right, where you feel like they make it as important about what's going on with your money as you think it's important, and that means that you have to be at it together. It's a partnership. It's a collaboration. And I, as I say, I apologize for many of my peers because we tend to be a little arrogant, frankly. We use jargon and we tell people effectively, pat them on the head, say, oh, that's really not going to happen, or that's not that important. No, I can't see the future. You're not psychic, neither am I, and neither are our portfolios. So the question becomes, well, how can we design some safety valves into this thing so that, look, right now the NBA is everybody's watching, right? And Oklahoma, if you're not watching, they're famous for their defense. And my point is, notice the Lakers are famous for their lack of defense. Okay. Okay. Two great teams. One's doing it a lot differently. And that's the point. This is your life. This is your money. How do you want to get this done? But yes, ask the question. What kind of defensive strategies are we including here? Where's our exit strategy in the case that it's depression too for the first time since 1929? How might we weather that storm? It's a fair question to look at. As I say, what can you do so that the events can happen? But it's kind of like the fires, right? If it didn't burn down your house, you're certainly satisfied. And if you could have done some things in advance of the fire occurring, like yard work, probably you increased your chances of surviving this and not being devastated.
Exactly. Now, are women asking direct questions of their financial advisor to get honest answers? And if they don't have you, what should they be asking so they can try to make sure they know who they're dealing with? I guess is the best way.
Make sure before you put the money anywhere, you determine what you want this money to do. Everybody likes it when you throw a dart in the dark or with the room lights on, and whatever that was you threw the dart on, it went up in value. Yay! We don't cheer when it goes down. In fact, we often feel not so good. And of course, nothing just keeps going up. So really take the time before you put your money on X, Y, or Z to figure out where do we want to go from here. You want to on vacation, summer's coming. This is where you are. This is where you want to go. What time we're going to leave? How do we get there on time safely? So what do we want this money to do? Again, individually or collectively. So what we're discovering is outside of the house, many folks are figuring out they need, well, I used an example, $5 million. It's just an example. What you want to do is figure out what is your target. By when do you need to have, for example, the equivalent of $5 million in today's dollars? Because it's always going to be more. But if you can see the target, now it becomes an easier task to see, okay, if this is what we're starting with, and if we make this kind of contribution and we get these kinds of returns, we can see that we can get from here to there on time safely. And then let's make sure we're reviewing this, kind of like getting your physical regularly. Let's review this regularly to see if some adjustments might need to be made. For example, there are those who look historically and go, look at how well the stock market has performed. And I'm saying this is true, but don't expect that past to be your future. In fact, Vanguard is suggesting, along with others, that when it comes to things like our stock funds, for example, that many people have trusted universally, 50, 60% of our net worth in stocks, might only see a return, who knows, of approximately 3 to 4%, as opposed to 8 or 10 or 12 when you look backwards. So what that suggests is that we should act as though that might be true. And the question becomes, what else can we fold into the equation? Like we're doing the waffle mix. What else can we put into the waffle mix so that it might taste even better? What else can we do to put in this batch that which might be more consistent? That's what I want to say. Where the yield by itself might be 3, 4, 5%. And then the return might be 8 or 9 or 10% net after expenses. Those things are, you tend to find those things with alternative investments, not cash, stocks and bonds, or residential real estate. And the fact is, this is good news for folks to recognize. The industry has structured everybody to say you should be diversified 60-40. Only, you know what? When we look at like Yale Endowment,
Yes.
I noticed that their exposure to U.S. Stocks is all of 3% the last time I looked. 3%, not 30. Okay. And I noticed that they have like 5 different asset classes, not 2 or 3. We can all agree. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. 2 or 3-legged stool might work. 3, 4, 5-legged stool probably will work better. Okay.
Stable, right.
Less likely to crash and burn. And that's what we want. So some of these positions that sound new to retail investors have been where the endowments have been for the last 30, 40 years. Yale, if you really pour through their site, they say what we used to do is the way many people are still doing it back in the 80s, 60-40 traditional asset classes. We're not doing it the way we used to. And this is my edit. By the way, we didn't lose money. This is what they say in their report in 2008. How many people can say that? Now let's understand, we can't duplicate what Yale is doing, but maybe we can learn from the best and the brightest and do some of the things that Yale is doing and other endowments to kind of insulate ourselves from being left to crash and burn.
Yeah, that's very, really important to diversify and not have everything in one basket.
Well, and to your point, when people look at that, they say, oh, well, I have stocks, I have real estate, I have some cash, I'm diversified. Well, wait a minute, go back and look. This is a couple we're going to see tomorrow, and he's a aerospace engineer. They have 5 homes, all paid for, all in Southern California. Let's just assume each one's worth about $1 million. Again, all paid for. This is all their money. All right. And then they both have like a 401k and a self-employed retirement plan. All I'm saying is, when you look at $5 million, that probably comprises 85% of their total net worth in one asset class.
Yeah.
And when I ask, well, how are you doing this? He says, well, I'm a conservative investor. And I'm like, I hear you. I'm looking at your statement. It's 85% stocks in the 401k, and you got $5 million in one asset class in real estate. So the 401k is heavily weighted towards stocks. Your whole portfolio is heavily weighted towards real estate. All right. And that might get uglier than you saw in 2008. Might be more like the Great Depression or what's going on in Japan right now. But we want you to see how bad it could get, particularly with engineers, before the grits hit the pan, so that you can say, hey, maybe it's time to kind of learn from Warren Buffett, right? A year ago, he, from what I can see, had amassed, sold some highly valued stocks, had $180 million in cash, finished 2024 with like $334 billion in cash. Remember, this gentleman is 94.
Yes.
And last time I looked, he had about $350 billion in cash. Now, who knows what he's thinking? But here's what I wonder. I notice he's not placing any big bets nowhere right now. I suspect he's putting himself in a situation, Debbie, where he can survive and thrive, because if and when, like 08 or worse, the grits hit the pan and he's sitting on that cash, he's going to be able to buy from distressed sellers. And that's what I'm saying to these folks with these 5 houses. Do you want to be a distressed seller? I don't want you to be a distressed seller. I want you too to be able to buy from a distressed seller. But you won't be able to do that when all your money's tied up in all of this equity and you count it as cash. But it's kind of like chips in Vegas, isn't it? It's not cash until you go to the cashier's window to get your chips and convert it into fresh money.
Very true. Very true. So how are women investing in financial education? I don't think they do. and most financial products, to understand how, what, and why.
Yeah. Like I say, don't just buy the shiny object. Make sure you can see, for example, sorry, hit this. Make sure you see how that object performed in 2008. How did it hold up in 2022? Go back to see how your account treated you in 2008. Most people don't do that, and I'm sorry, my peers don't encourage people to do that. Oh, it's back to even. I've got more money than ever. Yeah, but wait a minute. Did you feel that market average of 37 on the S&P in 2008? Was it worse than that in the no-load mutual funds that you had over 40% in 2008? Okay, if that happens again, would you be okay? Let me ask another question, because see, often we believe, well, that's what happened, but it always comes back. Suppose it doesn't. Just suppose. I mean, let's look at Japan for a minute, okay? Their stock market peaked 1229.89, the Nikkei around 40,000, dropped 80%. A year later, 1990, Japan real estate dropped 70%. Okay, so play along with me here, Debbie. We haven't practiced this, so no, we didn't put
That's
this
okay.
in. Okay.
So that's what I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, here's the question. And before I ask the question, I want to prepare you, because I want to give you the code. And the code is, it's a trick question, right? You know how to get the answer correctly because you know the code. So here's the question. Which has come back to even in Japan? Stocks since 1989 or real estate since 1970? It's a trick question.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
It-
I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, okay, so we'll do this together.
Okay.
If it's a trick question that says it's not A, it's not B, it's C.
It's combination.
No.
No.
None of the above.
The above. Okay.
Neither have gotten back to their high water mark from 1989 and 1990.
And then I guess they're not doing any alternative investments or anything like that.
Well, I'm just looking at the stock market and the real estate market, but I'm just talking about the markets themselves. All I'm trying to say is we've all been taught to repeat. It always comes back. It always comes back. I'm just saying, if we were Japanese citizens and we were 50, 35 years ago, and now we're 85,
You're hurting.
and neither the stocks nor the real estate have come back. And let's understand, the Japanese, they're not whiners. They're not screaming and jumping up and down. Okay, they're staying healthy. They're moving, right? They're doing what it takes to live to 85 to 100. But at the same time, let's just notice, according to Nomura Securities, they have 11 million vacant homes today, and Nomura Securities suggests that in the next 10 years, that number could possibly double. We're entering the twilight zone. All right. Looking at demographics, which nobody's looking at, and it's happening here too. So this is why we're trying to be, great to be on with you, a canary in the coal mine, to say, hey folks, let's look at what might be around the corner. Turn on your GPS, use the high beams, notice the signs, and notice everything that we have come to know to be true, particularly when it comes to the price of real estate, is a result of 76 million people being part of these United States of America. We have yet to see, but let's recognize 78 is the average age of death in America, and 78 is the age most Americans sell their homes. We've yet to see 20% of the population, 76 million people who own 3 to 4 homes on every block of 10, go to heaven. We haven't seen that happen. Stick around, it's going to happen.
Wow. When you say that about Japan, sometimes they're very crowded. I mean, in living spaces. So that's why I'm like going, wow. I mean, in the cities, wow.
Well, hey, listen, I found a story of we pay for research, so sometimes you get these ideas. And what happened is I found a story of a lady who moved from the U.S. to teach the Japanese English. And she found a house, wait for it, for free. Free. No money down, no money at all. Now, it needed lots of work. And from what I could find in another story, it might have been the house where a woman who lived there lived to 100 and then she died. She has a son. He's 80. He owns a house. He doesn't need another one. So they let it go in the condition that it took. And then I said, I wonder, because remember COVID, we all said everything's going to be back to normal. Everything's changed. Okay. We drink the same water, we breathe the same air, we fly the same airplane. So I'm like, hey, if that's what's happening there, that couldn't be happening here, right? Because all we know is shortages. That's what we hear. So that's what we believe.
True.
Well, go under the hood a little bit deeper. look a little bit further, we find that there are 16 million vacant homes in America. And the top two states, for most people, I go, where do you think the top state? Many people say New York. It's Florida. 1.7 million vacant homes in Florida. Who's number two? California. Huh? I did what? What? Yes, that's right. California, 1.2 million vacant homes.
Okay.
That's today. And I just had dinner with a gentleman. We were talking about what's going on after the fires. He has 4 homes in Santa Monica, very affluent, right? I think the average household price is $3 million in Santa Monica. Great place to live, right? He has 4 homes in Santa Monica, all of them paid for, no renters. Huh. Something's happening different than what we think.
Yeah. So
that's my point.
So John, what is your offer today?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you'd like to spend 15 minutes with my leading math man and myself to see what we might be able to do and what you're concerned about and how we might be addressing your concerns, happy to do so at no cost. And if you want to do a financial plan, it typically takes about $2,500. You will take $500 off that price to get you going. And then I also want to mention, Debbie, that we're going to be doing our webinar on the 27th. People let you know, you can let me know, or we can make sure those who want to join us. We'll be talking about how to build this ark to survive what we think are the coming storms. We have a 4-point plan that we'll go through at noon Pacific time on Friday the 27th to really look at what is this ark and how was it conceivable that in 2008, 2022, and 2025, people might have actually experienced less declines than others because they were doing something different than what people did where they left their money in the average kind of performing investment vehicles.
Okay, wonderful. These are great offers, and saving $500. Who doesn't want to save $500? And you can reach him at jgrace at ybpoor.com and mention Debbie Changed His Life so he knows where it came from. So thank you for being my guest today. Do you want to be a guest again?
Absolutely. Love working with you. Look forward to hopefully they'll get some questions. We can come back with some of those questions. And yes, absolutely. We want people to recognize they have a lot more power than they think, and they can make sure that they keep their assets intact as opposed to watch them be handed to them.
Well, thank you. So please stick around for closing remarks, okay?
All right.
Thanks. Now, remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. And I help people with gut issues, blood sugar, cardiovascular immunity. And I first start off with guiding you to a clean, toxic-free diet and high-quality essential nutrients that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better, and it'll uplift your mood. And possibly, if you need to release weight, maybe that will happen a little bit too. So now with my mindset coaching, I help you release that stress, emotions, and emotional attachments. And in turn, you are reshaping your core beliefs. Your mindset will be enhanced. With my health optimization and weight release, your body will be more efficient. That is the mind-body solution that will make your soul and heart sing. Ask me about my programs. And set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives. That's DebiChangesLives as in victory es.com/linktree LINKTREE. And when you do that, you get to know me, I get to know you, and I'll guide you to your optimal health. And it begins with 1 or 2 assessments. Now, the health evaluation, which is going to be on the next slide, is complimentary, where you rate your symptoms in the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions repeat in different categories. Answer them all. You'll get a baseline score to improve upon, and I'll review it with you. Now, when you move forward with my services, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy for you, and then we'll monitor your progress with this health evaluation. I also have 2 different Zyto body scans, and I prefer to do Zytolink's Vizera link. You can go to the next slide, where I can send that link to, I can send this information to you remotely, internationally, and I've sent it to Australia and as well South Africa. Now, the Vizera link is a transdermal optical imaging app. I send a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds, it's only looking at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. That emotional component is such a hidden gem. It creates a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that are being brought back into range. The cost of the scan is $75 because it's quite intensive, and I do review it with you. Now, if you move forward with a program or product, I give you a $25 discount, as well as I give you a discount on a family pack of 5 scans where you can save $50. Now, that Vizira link is that transdermal optical imaging app. It's also abbreviated TOI. You can look up those terms for accuracy at pubmed.gov. That's pubmed.gov, and find out more about that. People are really amazed what their body tells them through the scan. Are you curious? Get your first scan done on that consultation link, and also on that link are my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can use a new version of you to drive you to your success. All coaching is done on Zoom, and the first one's always private to you because I go over those health assessments. I give you a choice between 2 meal plans, directions on 1 meal plan, and instructions how to create a new version of you in an avatar board that's going to drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation goals throughout your journey. The rest of the coaching is the same for group coaching as well as private coaching, where we're going to be celebrating your wins. We're going to be using those boards to drive you to your completion, and I'll be guiding you over gaps with health and mindset tips. Of course, I'll be answering your questions. If you have any questions before you sign up, you go to my complimentary consultation and talk to me about it. Or you can watch a previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, on my show link of my link tree. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming, and in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients, as well as programs with exercises and recipes. Here you would ask me questions. Now, if you think you need some coaching, there's like a 2 or 4 week program to get you going. And it's up to you if you want to pay for additional coaching. And just remember that intermittent fasting repairs your cells, brings down the inflammation, and gives you mental clarity. With my mindset enhancement and weight optimization coaching, you can start off with these smaller programs, but truly those are a little bit longer journeys. And you probably want to get the bigger program to save money, or I can create a custom program for you. For a limited time, I'm offering Debi's coaching chats as a 30-minute complimentary coaching session in an intimate group setting. It's not recorded. A survey picks the topics. You can learn to optimize your health, release stress and emotions, how to harmonize your hormones, efficiently release weight, quitting and winning mindset for health and weight transformations and life, if you think about it, as well as creating a new version of you in an avatar board that'll drive you to success through your health and weight transformational goals. These meetings are on Tuesdays. Learn more about alternative health services, programs, and products, as well as articles, blogs, upcoming shows, and events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter. It's at DebiChangesLives.com. This time /radio TV show, all in one word with no spaces. And I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you record your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, food, water, exercise, and supplements you've taken on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. Then you want to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them, find your gaps to work on. If you need some help getting over your gaps, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I am certain that you've found this show educational, inspiring, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, products, programs, and offers, and reach out to John for his services and offers. Now, do we have time for John to come back?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm right here. How you doing?
Do you have anything else you want to close out with?
I'll just show up on the last Friday of the month. Generally, we do these at the last Friday of the month, and we come up with the topics that we think are topical. And as I say, we'll be looking at how to build an ark to survive and thrive the storms we think are on the horizon.
And the date is?
Friday, the 27th of June. And
Okay.
let me just give, this came from Warren Buffett. You see, we kind of like him. I love the last quote I got from him. He says, "Predicting rain doesn't count. Building arcs does."
True. So you can stay afloat. So,
Yes.
thank you for being on my show.
My pleasure, Debbie. Thanks for having me.
We need to close this out now, but you can continue to enjoy my radio and TV show Debi Changes Lives at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.